Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to import animations from Aseprite to Godot using this plugin I created called Aseprite Wizard. This is the main screen. To get here you need to go to Project, Tools and Aseprite Wizard. First you need to select your source file, your Aseprite source file. I'm going to use for this first example this door I created. There are many animations in here and let me import this thing so I can show you the plugin in action. First you need to select the Aseprite file. Then you select the output folder. I will leave as output, but you can come here and select wherever you want. I'm going to talk about the other options in a minute. Let's start with this simple thing. So here's saying that the import succeeded. If you see here, I created a new resource file called door. This is a sprite frames resource that contains all the animations inside. Let me create an animated sprite and import this resource as frames. So now here I can select, let me lock warning. You can see that this animation is working fine. Well, so let me talk about some interesting things in this animation. Okay, so first of all animations were imported with the same name they are in Aseprite. So you don't need to manually come here and select each one of the frames and create each one of the animations. It does everything for you. Another thing, it imports all those animations as a single file, a single PNG file. One limitation though is the loop configuration. In Aseprite you don't really have a loop configuration, right? Because the animations just play over and over. There is no way for the plugin to know if this is a loopable or not. So all animations are set as loop, and you can come here and just change it and save. And now you can see that it doesn't loop anymore. I can reset and it's going to do it. Another cool thing is the animation direction. And in Aseprite you can find different ways your animation is going to play, like forward, reverse or ping pong. One example is unlocking and locking. If you see, unlocking goes forward while locking use the same frames but goes in a reverse order. If I play unlocking, it goes in one direction, it goes from red to blue, and if I play locking, it goes from blue to red. So I also have an example of ping pong. I believe the lock warning here uses ping pong, and the lock warning is this animation here. So what it is doing here, it's going to the end of the animation and then coming back, so I don't need to repeat frames. Okay, let me show you the other options. I never really create an animation isolation, right? I need to have references, like this one I want the background so I can compare the color of my spider with the background, and also I want a character in here so I can compare how big is this spider compared to the character. But in the final animation, I don't want those frames to be there. If I come here and try to import that spider, let me do it. You can see that I have all the layers in here, and this is not really what I want. It's quite annoying, right? Because you have all the frames in here. So there are two ways you can avoid that. The simplest one is probably this checkbox that says only include visible layers. So I can check this checkbox, come to my animation and hide anything I don't want in the final animation. So if I click import, you can see that now I just have my spider in here. Let me go back to the previous way. So you can see again the background there. So there's a second way you can do that using a exclusion pattern and basically use regex for this thing. I could say that any frame containing background should be excluded from my final animation, or maybe any frame that starts with reference in the name should be excluded. I have my own pattern that's basically any frame that I use as reference, I add an underscore in the end. So if I come here and I say underscore $, if I import now, my new resource is actually only the spider again. And in fact, you can even mix and match these two. They are not exclusive. So let me use this lizard to segue in another option in my plugin, that's trimming or removing the padding from the image. And basically, if you see my lizard here, you can see all this space around it. And it's basically because I do have all this space, and the lizard is not even centralized. So this could be a little bit of a headache. So the way you can avoid that is by using another option that's trimming the image. And that's all it does. It trims the image for you. So if I come here again, new lizard, you can see that now my animation is trimmed. You can see that the bounding box now it's around the lizard. So now let me talk about the last option, that's split layers in multiple resources. You may have a situation like this one where you have many different creatures or variations of the same creature in the same file. And you could come here, you select like the creatures file, and you just say, okay, now I'm importing the green lizard or the red lizard. And you come here and you use the visible option, only visible options that I talked about. But this is not really ideal. So one way you could do, you set this option, and now each layer is going to become a separated resource. And let me show you this in action. And that's basically it. Oh, the lizard was red there, but now you also have the red lizard as a separated one. So I think the only thing that I need to talk about is the command used by this plugin. This plugin requires Aseprite to be in your path. You need to have the executable in your path. If you're not using Linux like me, if you're using Windows, or if you're using the Steam version of Aseprite, you need to come here and you need to set the right path for the command. Like let's say that's Aseprite.x. And that's all you need to do. So first thing, if you're using Windows, come to this button here, configuration, and set the right path. Otherwise, it's going to try to use Aseprite and it's going to fail. Yeah, that's all I have for today. You can find the link for the source code in the description. If there is anything that's not working properly, or there is an option that you would like it to have, just let me know and I can take a look on that. That's all. Thank you very much. See you next time.